I swear I don't know what it is about going live. I cough every time. Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one that you had envisioned for yourself. But time marches on, it waits for no one. And you can't waste your life feeling sorry for yourself. You know, you got a shitty deal. You did. So now what? Speaking of shitty deals, I actually didn't plan that, but that's pretty good uh, seg into my next. I uh, I have two. I have a lot of health issues, but my two primary health problems, fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's thyroiditis, they're both chronic pain conditions. So essentially, I hurt most of the time. I do get windows here and there, not very often, and they're real short. I do get windows here and there of relief, but I hurt like hell. And stress, of course, aggravates this. And it's so funny because pain management, since I've been involved with all of this mess, pain management has completely radically changed. And it's so crazy now. So the same medical community that used to stuff me full of Vicodin like they were freaking candy. I was taking 3 or 4 of those every day for, I don't know, quite some time, because this was years ago. So I don't remember how long, but it was a significant amount of time. And you know what? I was the one who finally said, "No, I can't do this anymore. I don't wanna I don't wanna take these medications every day. I don't wanna feel like this." And I sure as hell didn't wanna become dependent on it. So I took myself off of the Vicodin. And then in the past, also I had a good deal going. I could get 120 Valium in a year, no questions asked, no hassle, no worries. Obviously, at 120 Valium over 365 days, I wasn't abusing it, and I sure as hell wasn't selling it. I wouldn't have made enough on the black market to make it worth my while. But 120 Valium were it was really about the perfect amount. It whenever things would get really bad, I could take 1 or 2, I'd have enough for, a couple days, and then I wouldn't take them again until I really needed them. But then the opioid crisis hit, and pain patients are out on our asses, and I'm sorry, those of you on my Twitter, I know you've been watching this go down on my timeline, but I just had to rant about it. I promise too, by the way, I do talk about other things. I really do, but all this is happening right now, so it's just and this has been so freaking crazy. So the medical community has gone from stuffing us full of pain meds and literally just handing out prescriptions freely to, what do you mean you have pain issues? Why do you want pain? Why do you want meds? Are you an addict? Is there something wrong with you mentally? That's truly how they treat us. And things have changed so drastically that I had to sign a so called pain contract just to get some pain meds. Now, keep in mind, y'all, I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm not asking for any, I'm very, very sensitive to narcotics. All I want is a little tramadol. All I want is just enough to take the edge off. And the way I've always done tramadol in the past is I cut them in half. I don't want a whole one. I don't need a whole one very often. Cut them in half. I'll take a half in the morning, a half at night. If it's a really challenging day, I'll live wild and I'll take another half at noon. So I'll take a total of 1.5 in a day on rare occasions. Usually it's just 1 pill a day. That's enough to keep me pretty stable. But they won't give me that anymore unless I sign these pain contracts. Well, I talked to the pain clinic in Texas about this, and I got really upset. I was highly offended, frankly. Um, what a pain contract is that was awkward. Um, but I had to sign a form promising that I'm going to be a really good girl and that I'm going to take all of my tramadol as prescribed. Well, okay. Problem number one: I take my tramadol as needed. Well, I used to take my tramadol as needed. I don't want to have to rely on it every single day. I don't think that's healthy. But because they're so worried that I'm going to become an addict, I have to take, or actually this case, they're worried I'm going to be selling. Like anyone's going to go through all these freaking hoops to turn around and sell this crap. But um, they're so worried I'm going to sell my medication that I have to take a urinalysis test randomly to prove that I'm actually taking the medication. But that means I can't skip. If I'm feeling okay, I can't skip it. I have to take it now, because if they randomly drug test me and I don't have it in my system, oh, you're selling your drugs. We're not refilling you. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. How the freaking hell does this make any sense? I also had to promise that, let's see, I had to promise not to sell it, and I had to promise not to take illicit drugs. If I were going to be taking illicit drugs, do you think I'd bother jumping through all these freaking ridiculous hoops? Do you think I haven't done anything wrong? Okay. I shouldn't be treated like I'm some kind of criminal or drug addict. But that's how we're all treated now. Now, I really try not to get very political on these talks. I do, but it is the epitome of insanity that if I were a street junkie in a big city, the government would be bending over backwards to facilitate my addiction. But since I'm a chronic pain patient, screw you, ladies, suffer. How does that make sense? When I first spoke to the pain clinic in Texas about having to take the drug test, I said, if I were doing illicit drugs, I wouldn't be here arguing with you guys. I said, this is humiliating to have to ask you to beg you to help me. Side note, it's even worse though, is when you beg for help and they don't give it to you. That is the worst. Anyway, so I go in and I see my doctor Wednesday, and I sign this stupid flippin' pain contract. And at least here it's random. In Texas, they wanted me to drug test every month, and I was just so highly offended. I'm still offended by it. Just, what the hell choice do I have? It's this or suffer. So my doctor ordered the meds on Wednesday. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong between Wednesday and Thursday. Actually, to be honest, I'm not even sure what went wrong to this point, except somehow there's a pre-authorization involved. Again, I'm taking tramadol. I'm not taking anything crazy here. I'm taking if not the lowest level, one of the lowest level narcotics on the market. It's literally barely a step up over Tylenol, but it's enough for me. But it didn't get filled Thursday. It didn't get filled Friday. The pharmacy told me this morning, my insurance company hasn't pre-authorized this yet. I'm just like, are you freaking... It's tramadol. Now, here's the thing you all need to consider. What do you think has happened to all these chronic pain patients that have just been tossed off of their medication? Now, I was luckier than most because I wasn't dependent on a hard drug like Vicodin. To me, that's a hard drug because I'm very sensitive. But I know people who were taking oxys or perks for different reasons, and then all of a sudden they're either severely... One guy I know was cut down by 3/4. Well, if you've got significant pain issues, that's the difference between you having a functional life and you just laying around wishing you'd die. That sounds dramatic, but it's true. And speaking of dying, as somebody pointed out on one of my Twitter threads about all this, this shit is shortening my lifespan. All this stress, not even the stress of all the ridiculous hoops, but telling us that we just suffer. So that it's so funny because doctors tell me all the time, you need to lower your stress, Courtney. You need to lower your stress. So I finally gotten to the point where I just smile at them and say, yes, you're right. And you know what would go a really long way towards lowering my stress? Controlling my pain. But we both know that ain't going to happen. I try to be nice to everybody. I do. It's getting harder and harder to be nice. Fortunately, I love my doctor. I truly do. But it is getting harder and harder to be nice about this stuff because I'm not asking for that much. I'm not looking, I know I can't pill this away. I'm well aware of that fact. But for God's sakes, give me a little support. Give me a little help when I need it. And only when I need it. Don't force me to have to take a drug every day and then turn around and tell me you're worried I'm going to be addicted. Make it make sense. Oh, another crazy, I've heard all kinds of crazy medical crap the last couple of days. A friend of mine, I can't remember what medication he was on, but he goes to a CVS pharmacy down in the States. And they apparently will not order any more medication until they're completely out at this pharmacy. Well, his prescription was for 90 pills and they only had 88. They wouldn't order new ones until that 88 were gone. But hey, we don't have enough to fill your prescription, dude. Make it make sense. How in the hell? How? I understand that the pendulum had to come back the other direction from the ridiculousness that we had several years ago, many years ago, with them just tossing out crazy pain medication so freely. As someone with chronic pain, I know this was a problem. I was very aware this was a problem. But to go from there to where we're at now, where it's almost, I had a girlfriend who had a snowboarding accident several years ago. She broke her arm and her tailbone. You know what they told her at the hospital? Get some Tylenol on your way home. That was it. That was all the pain medication that they offered her. Why in the hell would you add that kind of stress to somebody? Her body was already stressed from breaking two bones and the other injury she got in her obviously significant fall. Take some Tylenol? That's cruel. They told a friend of mine, his son broke his collarbone. A little boy. And the ER doctor said, get some Tylenol. And the dad said, no, I don't think so. He needs something stronger than that. And the dad really advocated, but it's one thing for a dad or a mother to advocate for their child. As an adult, if I advocate for myself in this area, well, you're awfully desperate to have this medication. Are you an addict? Or are you just looking to make extra money? Why isn't the consideration ever, hey, you have some serious pain issues. Perhaps you need the medication to manage your pain. I know. Me and that crazy talk. Anyway, I'm sorry for this was kind of all over the place, but y'all, this shit is ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. And someone asked me, well, don't they realize that they're pushing people to street drugs? Yeah, of course they realize that. They do. There's no way in hell they don't realize that. For goodness sakes, it's obvious. Desperate people do desperate things. So now they're screaming about the fentanyl problem that they helped cause. Of course, they caused the opioid crisis by being greedy bastards, but that's another story. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I don't know when the hell my prescription is going to be ready, but the pharmacy did tell me it was today, so I am keeping a very close eye on my text messages. Shockingly, it hasn't come in the last 10 minutes. But you know what? At some point it will. And I'm going to be ready because I tell you, I'm running right up to the damn store when it happens. I am It's ridiculous that it's what, Wednesday, Thursday for 3 freaking days to fill a simple tramadol prescription that I had to sign a contract to get, and it still took 3 days. And technically, the process still isn't done. I'm just jumping over some hoops and paying out of my pocket. And oh, you bet your ass I'm going to submit that receipt for reimbursement. It's not very much money, but that's not the point. I shouldn't have to do this. Frankly, I think Primera should be paying me for my time and having to submit the receipt, but I know that ain't going to happen. But anyway, okay, I'm done. I'm done ranting. Look, I can't solve this problem. Obviously, if I can't solve it for myself, there's no way I can solve it for you. But if you're struggling with health issues, drop me a line. I know I can help you find some good strategies to just help you get through it. Because, yeah, this shit is hard enough without the medical community working against you. But I'll take care. I will be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock, although I just realized the other day, Sundays, I'm going to have to start changing my schedule because I'm going to start going to church. But I'm not going to church on Christmas Eve because all the people who never show up, Christmas and Easter. So I avoid church on Christmas and Easter. It's kind of like going to the gym New Year's. Anyway, I keep rambling. You